Welcome to the automations compilation. This is going to be a compilation of all of my latest videos going over automations, workflows, and everything that you need to know in order to get started using automations and workflows inside of HighLevel. This is going to be a longer video, so feel free to take notes, follow along in your own sub account, and as always, thank you for watching.
Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Andrew, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can launch automations and engage with leads off of Facebook and Instagram comments. This is a feature I'm incredibly excited to use and is super useful when it comes to growing your business. We all know how important social media is, and using comments is an easy way to capture leads, engage with them one-on-one, and make more sales. So let me show you exactly how it works. Now, before we dive right in, make sure in your sub account you go to settings and then integrations, and then go ahead and go to Facebook and Instagram and make sure that you're connected. I'm going to disconnect real quick. You can do so by just clicking the connect button if you're not connected already. Then you'll see this little drop down where you can select the Facebook page that you have. Make sure you pick a Facebook business page that your Instagram is connected to. If you don't know how to make sure of that, go to business.facebook.com and you'll see right on your homepage a Facebook icon and an Instagram icon. If the Instagram icon is blurred out, you'll see a little connect Instagram button. Go ahead and click that, make sure the two are connected, and then connect to the Facebook page that your Instagram is connected to. After that, you can click connect and you can make sure that you're all set up properly. Now to start using these automations, you guessed it, go ahead and go to automations and then open up a new workflow where you can build your Instagram or Facebook automation. If you want to get started super fast, HighLevel has actually already created a recipe. So if you go ahead and click the recipe button, you'll see Facebook comment automation right here, and you can go ahead and select that and create a brand new workflow. Now, all automations that you're going to be launching off of comments from Instagram or Facebook are going to have two parts. You're going to have your triggers and then your action, which can be an Instagram interactive messenger or your reply and comments action. You can see in the recipe here that HighLevel sets up for us, we already have the Facebook comment on a post trigger. If you want to find these triggers, go ahead and click add new trigger and then scroll down to the very bottom where you can see Facebook and Instagram events. Here's where we get that trigger. Now we have a few different parameters here that I want to explain thoroughly, so stay with me for this part. The first parameter is the page that you're launching it off of, and you should only have one of these, so that's easy. Now once you do that, it's automatically going to drop in the post type and post is filters. The post type is just letting you know that you're going to be using a published post, and for Facebook group posts, you're going to be using the custom value. After this, you have this specific post selector, which will allow you to pick the exact post that you want to launch this automation off of. Here you'll see a list of all the posts that you've posted on Facebook or Instagram, depending on which trigger you're on. Here we can select our most recent post, and now this trigger is set up to launch this workflow off of any comments on this specific post. Now you might be asking, can I make an automation that launches off of any post with just one trigger? And yes, you absolutely can. If all you do is delete the post is, then this will now launch off of any post you create. Now, for most circumstances, you're going to want to use a keyword whenever you're launching these automations, especially if you're delivering something to a user, because you may get a lot of spam comments or not want to message all of those people if they're not qualified. Something I'll do that works pretty well. In order to do this, you'll want to add a filter and then go ahead and do contains phrase or exact match. Now, since you're probably going to be using keywords, I want you to be careful whenever you're using these two different fields. For example, if we use contains phrase and we say something like demo is our phrase, then anytime somebody comments the word demo, obviously it's going to launch. But it's also going to launch if somebody comments the word demo along with something else. Now, this can be a pro or con depending on your use case. For example, if you use the contains phrase filter, then if somebody comments your keyword plus some exclamation marks or along with any other words like can I have a demo, then it will still launch, which is great. It's very common for people on social media to not follow the rules exactly and not just comment the keyword. Sometimes they'll comment the keyword with exclamation points or emojis, or maybe they'll say it within a sentence. In these cases, you would want your automation to launch. But however, in other cases, if you're using a word that is very commonly used, like let's say the word course, then you run the risk of people typing out random comments that don't want to receive the DM, and they will still receive it anyway because you're using the contains phrase filter. To mitigate this risk, you can use the exact match filter. In this case, whatever they comment has to be exactly what you put into this box. So if you put in demo, so if you get comments of people that say, I want a demo, or they put demo with exclamation points, then they will not receive the DM. So when it comes to which filter you want to use your best discretion and pick the one that you think your audience is going to fit into the most. If you're working with lots of people that are used to these types of automations, then exact match may be perfect. If you're working with people that maybe are more likely to type additional characters, then maybe a contains phrase will be best for you. And make sure that the automations you set up are set up for them. Either way, be sure to test it with your audience and see what works best for you. Now that you know how this trigger works, I'll show you the Instagram version, which is exactly the same. If you just look up Instagram comments on a post, it'll ask you for the same filters of selecting a page, which post type you want to have. And again, if you would like to make it only launch on a specific post, you can do that. Or if you want to launch on all posts across your account, you can delete that and set up a keyword. Now, there is a case where you may want this automation to launch off of any comment without any keywords, but I'll show you that in a second. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Now that you understand how the triggers work, let me show you the interactive messenger new action. We'll have one for Facebook Interactive Messenger, and then we'll have one for Instagram Interactive Messenger. They both operate about the same. Keep in mind, if you don't have a Facebook trigger on this workflow, then you won't be able to add the Facebook Interactive Messenger action, and the same goes for Instagram. We have both here, so I can show you how each of them work. Looking into the Facebook Interactive Messenger, the Facebook and Instagram Interactive Messenger essentially has three parts that you want to look at. The first one's going to be the reply type. You have two options. You can either reply to a comment via DM, or you can reply to a DM. You would select reply to DM if you are going to be responding to somebody that sends you a DM directly, and you'll use reply to comment via DM if you are responding to a comment. In this case, I'm showing you how to use the comments, so we're gonna go with that type. The second part is the message itself. This is the actual DM that will be sent within the interactive messenger bubble. And then at the very bottom, we will see our buttons. So each button will have two parts. It'll have a title, and then it will have a condition. This is essentially the action that occurs whenever they click the button. If you click open website, then obviously it's going to open up the website link that you give them right below, and it will open that up within the Instagram or Facebook app if they're on their mobile device. If we make a second button, I'll show you the second condition, which is call number. This one's pretty straightforward. If you just throw in your number, select your country code, and whenever somebody clicks this button, it will immediately call this number. The last action that you can have is perform actions, which is going to send back the title to you. For example, if we give them the option to open our website, call our number, and then perform actions, we might want to use this button to our advantage to give them the ability to ask a question. So if our title is set up to say this, and we have our perform actions as our condition, then what's going to happen is when they click that button that says, I've got a question, they are going to immediately send, I've got a question to you. I've had this set up across multiple accounts. That seems to be my best use case for that. Once you've got your button set up, you can go ahead and click save. Now you might not know what steps to add afterwards. So let me show you a real life use case that I've used personally using the Instagram comments automation and how I use these trees to my advantage to track and manage my leads. So right here is an automation set up for Instagram. The trigger is to receive the comment demo on a specific post on my Instagram page. Then we have our Instagram Interactive Messenger, which is the same thing as the Facebook one. We're just using it on the Instagram channel with a little bit of a message. And then we have two buttons. We have a book a call button, which sends them to my booking page, and then the I've got a question button, like I showed you before, that has the ability to perform an action. We also added in a wait step for the default timeout tree, and I'll show you how I use that right now. So the user will go down the default timeout tree if they comment the keyword and then they don't actually engage in the interactive messenger. What I do in that case is I add a little bit more of a wait step to make sure I'm not feeling spammy. And then I'm throwing in another DM that's just essentially a follow-up. Now this works because I know for a fact and they haven't clicked the button to ask a question. So this is a perfect time for a follow-up. In the book a call route, what I now do is I create an opportunity which shows that they're engaged. So I know this lead is a little bit more engaged than everyone else because they clicked the button to book a call. I'm also going to add a tag which can launch other workflows, then add a little bit of a wait step and then DM them afterwards. So that way I know for a fact I'm DMing them while they're on their phone and I know that they clicked the booking link. This is just another DM to get some more information from the lead and a little bit of copy to make them feel like the message is a little bit more human. I then have a couple more automations, which is really just to wait and then see if they've replied. And if they do reply, I'll update their contact field with the new information. And if they haven't, then I'll follow up. Now down the I've got a question route, essentially what happens is they click the button, it sends me a DM that says, I've got a question, because that's how the perform actions button works. Then I'm going to immediately send a DM back that says, go for it, what's up? This is just a fun way to use automations to engage with the lead even more. I then have a wait step, which goes to the follow-up step in case they click the button and then they don't engage again. I can actually have the system follow up with them to make sure we don't miss anything. So this is exactly how you can use comments in the Instagram or Facebook interactive messenger to deliver things to your leads on social media and of course capture more data. Now there's one more new action, which is the ability to reply in comments, and I'm going to show you how that works right now. Again, HighLevel has created a great recipe for us. So if you click create workflow, click select a recipe, you will see this first recipe, Facebook comments plus workflow AI. Personally, it's one of my favorites. Now what this is going to do is it's going to capture a comment using the same trigger that we've already shown you. And then we're going to use the reply in comments action to actually reply to their comment in the comments. This is great because it allows you to boost engagement without having to even be in the comment section on your social media profiles. Now, what most people would do, and sometimes works really well, is you can create a couple of replies whenever a contact goes through this workflow. This is something that you'll see pretty typically on social media, especially if you have something where you are asking for a keyword and then you're going to send them a DM with whatever you're promising to deliver them. We have 3 messages that'll be sent randomly. So we'll say either thanks, sent you a DM, sending it now, or thanks for the comment to anybody that goes down this route. Again, this works best if you have a trigger set up for the contains phrase or exact match for something like a course. Now that's how most people do it, but let me show you how a HighLevel expert would do it. Instead of replying to contacts that go through this workflow with pre-made responses, why don't we use AI to make custom responses that can handle positive and negative comments right within our social media channels? That's what HighLevel's recipe does right here. You can see the first step, they're using the ChatGPT powered by OpenAI to send this prompt to ChatGPT. The default one says, this is a comment on my Facebook post by a user. I sell X courses. The post was regarding X. You can fill in the blanks here. Then we have the custom value, which is the actual comment. You'll find that by clicking the custom values and then clicking Facebook comments on a post. and then clicking comment body, and you'll get that custom value right there. And then they have a couple more instructions for ChatGPT. Then it actually responds to the comment with ChatGPT's response, which is fantastic. And then it also analyzes the type of comment it is to see if it's positive or negative and to make sure that we're responding accordingly. If it's a positive comment, then it'll go ahead and send them a message through the Facebook Interactive Messenger. Again, you can do this on Instagram as well. And if it's negative, then they won't engage. Because I've seen time and time again pages that are set up to respond to all comments, no matter what they say, positive or negative, and it makes pages look really, really bad. So using AI plus HighLevel in order to make this work really well is one of my favorite things that you can do. Now, just a heads up for the interactive messenger, it won't look exactly like a regular message. This is within a conversation with a test account. You can see that the actual interactive messenger is going to appear as a gray bubble with your buttons right here. And you can also see a good visual of this within the conversations tab, so you can see all the buttons that you have available for your customers on this automation. Now, speaking of the conversations page, any Instagram or Facebook DMs that come in, you'll be able to see them right here along with the comments. You'll see this little notification that says new comment on linked Instagram's post. You'll also see the reply as a DM option, which is there in case this outbound message somehow doesn't go out. Keep in mind, if a user has multiple comments and no outbound DMs are actually sent out from any of them, you can select a specific comment and send a DM based on that comment right from the conversations page. Also, to finish this off, I'll show you what that AI workflow looks like. Right here, I have this set up to respond to any comments. With a little bit of custom training, I had it respond to positive comments positively with different messages, so each one looked like I sent it myself. These automations are killer if you're on social media and can really help you get more engagement, boost your page, get more leads, and get more people to book appointments with you and your company. If you have any questions about how these automations work, go ahead and drop a comment, and feel free to go ahead and start using these yourself because they are super awesome and I personally love them. As always, I hope you found this helpful and thank you for watching. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Andrew, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can automate contact follower management. Now, before now, you would have to manually add followers to contacts, and there really wasn't a good workaround in order to manage who was following which contacts within your sub account. Well, now it's a heck of a lot easier. So let me show you how it works. Obviously, this is going to be in automations and then workflows. We're going to go ahead and open up a new workflow that I'm using to automate follower management for contacts that come into my CRM through any sort of channel. For this example, it's going to be Instagram. So I have people that are responding with a keyword on Instagram. And before now, this is what I would have to do. I would have to create an opportunity that would be assigned to myself, so I have to manage it manually. And if I want to add a follower to the contact, I would have to do that in the contacts page. I couldn't do that automatically. Well, now if you go ahead and click plus, you will see down at the bottom of the contact section the ability to add and remove contact followers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a contact follower. I'm going to add my appointment setter as the follower to this contact, and then go ahead and save that. And then for the task, I'm going to also assign that to my appointment setter. Now, rather than having a contact come in and then have to add my appointment setter as the follower or have them do it manually, now I can do it straight through a workflow. It's all automatic and super clean. Also, if I head out and go to my contacts list and log in as my appointment setter, I am able to have a smart list that is set up specifically for contacts that my appointment setter is following. So you can see now this user will have their own list only with people that they are following, and I didn't have to manually make them follow those contacts. So they know exactly who they're supposed to engage with and who they're not. This automation is super helpful for me. I hope you can find as much use in it as I did, and I hope you found this video helpful to learn exactly how to use it. As always, thank you so much and have a fantastic day. Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm going to be showing you a really cool workflow action, which is the text formatter, which will allow you to take any sort of inputs that are text and format them in one of the many ways that I'm about to show you right here within HighLevel. So to use this feature, obviously you're going to go to automations, and then we're going to open up a new workflow. Now within here, you'll see that the text formatter is an action. So you're going to want to click the plus, and over in actions, search up text formatter. You'll see that there's two variables. There's the action type, which we have all of these different types of actions. We have uppercase, lowercase, title case, and many, many, many others that we can use to modify the text that is going to go into this action. My two favorite are extract email and extract URL, and I'll show you how one of those works in a second. And then also we have the field that we're actually going to be drawing the text from. So if this case, if you have someone respond, it's going to be message body. Maybe it's the email, the phone, the address, or any of these other fields that we can select right here. We can also use ChatGPT to have an AI field set up. Now, you may not know exactly how you would want to use this, so let me show you 3 very common use cases that I would actually use this for within my business. For this workflow, we're just launching it off of a customer reply trigger, but our first use case is going to be extracting an email from a message. So all we have to do is click that plus button, search up text formatter, and then select our action as extract email all the way at the bottom. Once we do that, we're going to select our field as the message body, which is coming in from the trigger of customer replied. And then what this is going to do is extract the email. And then what we're going to do is stick this into a spreadsheet that we're using for ads. Right here, you'll see the text underscore formatter custom value. You'll see in the custom value tags on the right-hand side, you can click text formatter and then click whichever one is the right one. In this case, it is the 5th text formatter action. Now, another really common use of this that I like a lot is using this alongside the Chat GPT workflow AI. In this case, we're going to say craft a friendly response to the message that we're receiving from the customer within the CRM. And what we're going to do is actually take this message and turn it all to lowercase. Now, you might ask, why would you do that? Well, a lot of people actually like texting in all lowercase, and it makes things feel a lot more humane. And so if we're using AI, maybe we want to take an AI response and turn it to lowercase. So we're going to do just that, and we're going to take that, and then using that custom field, we're going to send it in an SMS. One more kind of fun use case that I came up with, I call it family friendly, is where you can take a section of text and then actually use the replace text action, which will replace all instances of a specific word or phrase with another. In this case, our word or phrase is heck, and we're going to replace it with a family-friendly version, if you catch my drift. We're going to click save, and then we can send that in a DM, an SMS, or an email, again, by using the text formatter tag. I really like this feature because it allows you to take sections of text within automations and customize exactly what output you're going to get to really hone in on your tracking and your automations within the HighLevel CRM. It also reduces your need for a developer if you have specific needs like taking a section of text and extracting emails like I showed you, or to better track things within your business. It's a cool feature with tons of functionality, so feel free to try it out yourself. And if you have any questions, then just leave a comment. As always, thank you for watching. Hey everybody, Andrew here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how you can use the Facebook Conversions API within workflows right within HighLevel. This will allow you to track conversions that come from Facebook and that happen on your HighLevel websites by using Facebook's Direct Conversions API along with a workflow within HighLevel. Now this is really important because in the early days of Facebook advertising, companies were able to track user data such as conversions, names, IP addresses, and such on their own websites whenever they came from Facebook ads, which gave a lot of companies a lot of control over their marketing efforts. But after a while, Apple caught onto this and users ended up not really liking that amount of data to be shared with Facebook. So with the iOS 14 update, users could now opt in order to be tracked or opt out. And as you can guess, most users opt out of tracking from Facebook. This made direct marketing really difficult for advertisers through Facebook ads, but luckily using the Facebook Conversions API gateway, we can now track conversions without having to ask for users' cookie data, and we can still get really accurate data from our marketing efforts. If you're running Facebook ads and using HighLevel, this is a great way to get started, and it will allow you to have a lot more control over your conversions and your data. So let's dive right in. Now to get started, we're going to go to business.facebook.com. This is our Meta Business Suite, and then we're going to click All Tools on the bottom left-hand side. Once we get here, we're going to click the Events Manager. This is going to be where we can manage all of our conversions in our API gateways. And then this is going to take us to this screen. Now, once we're here, you'll be able to see your ad account ID, any alerts on your account, and then you'll see data sources on the left-hand side. Go ahead and click that. I know most people already have their pixels set up, but I know what it feels like to be confused about how to set up your pixels on your site. So I'm going to show you just real quick. If you simply click copy code and then paste it into the header of your website, then you'll be able to install the Facebook pixel onto your site. This is essentially what allows Facebook to read events on your site. If you go back to your site in HighLevel, click tracking code and then paste it in header tracking, then you can save and publish, and then you'll be good to go. Back in the Events Manager, if you click continue, that'll take you to the next screen. This is where you can select all of the information that you wanted to send back to Facebook. Then you can open up the event setup tool, which is going to allow you to basically dictate exactly what events qualify as conversions. Here you'll input the website URL, and then it'll take you to the website and let you go through this entire process where you can actually select buttons and track exactly what those buttons count as far as conversions. So you can tie certain buttons to add to cart conversions or view content conversions or anything like that. This entire process is really up to you. You can set this up however you would like. I just set up a couple of actions right here just for our Conversions API gateway to function properly. And once you do all of that, you can go ahead and finish the process, head back to Facebook, and X out of this screen. Then you can click Go to Pixel Overview, which will take you back to the screen where now you can get ready to use the API gateway with a workflow in HighLevel. Once you're back here, what you want to do is go to Settings. And then once we're here, we're going to pick up a couple pieces of data that we will need for the workflows. The first one is the access token. We're going to scroll down to Conversions API. You'll see all of this stuff saying set up with Conversions API gateway and existing gateways. Don't worry about any of that except for the part that says set up direct integration. Just simply click generate access token and you'll be good to go. Once that pops up, copy that to a clipboard and then save that in a document somewhere. Then we're going to grab one more piece of information, which we're going to do by scrolling back up, and we'll be able to see the dataset ID, which is technically also our pixel ID, and we can copy that and also save that in another document. Now, once we have those two pieces of data, we're going to go into a new workflow, and there's only two parts that you really need to know in order to make this Conversions API work properly. The first one is the trigger itself. There's only a couple of triggers that will work with the Conversions API workflow, and those triggers are form submitted, survey submitted, appointment status or customer booked appointment, so any of the appointment related triggers, and then any of the order related triggers, such as order form submission, order placed, or order submitted. We're going to use form submitted, and we're going to select it as an opt-in form that we have set up on our site, that we have our pixel set up on. And then once you have that trigger, all you need to do is use the Facebook Conversion API action. You'll find it by searching up Facebook and then click Conversion API. Now, once you have this action open, we're going to go ahead and paste that access token. That's the big long piece of text that we copied first. And then we're going to grab that pixel ID, which is also the dataset ID, and paste that into there. Then we can select which Facebook event we want to use. Keep in mind the event name is the name of the event that you set up within the event manager earlier. So for this example, we're just going to use add to cart. And then you can also tie a value to it if you would like as well. At the bottom, you'll also see a test code. So you can put in a test code if you would like to test this a couple times and make sure that your conversions gateway is working. This test code you will find back in our pixel settings at test events. Just click confirm servers are set up correctly, and you'll see that test code right there. And then you can copy that and throw that into the workflow if you would like to use this as a test rather than setting it live. Once you've done that, you can save your action, save the workflow, turn it to publish, and you will be good to go. Feel free to play around within Facebook with all of the different events that you can set up on your site, such as add to carts, view contents, filling out forms, things like that, so you can better track user data as they come through. You can also use this to create more in-depth workflows to send out notifications to team members or yourself whenever people place orders or request more information about your product within HighLevel. If you have any questions about how to set up Facebook tracking within the Conversions API gateway or setting up the workflow actions within HighLevel, then just leave a comment. And as always, I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching. Hey everybody, Andrew here. We've got an awesome workflow action that maybe some of you don't know about yet, is the custom code action, which will allow you to run custom lines of JavaScript code within your workflows. Let me show you how it works. So first thing, there's no specific triggers that you need to use in order to use this action. So we're just going to use contact created, and we're going to click plus for actions and look up custom code. You'll see right here, it's in beta, so it's a new feature depending on when you're watching this, but we're going to go ahead and click that. And we're going to see a couple of different things here. First of all, the language is set to JavaScript. If you want to use this action, you can't be doing it in C++, C#, Python, anything like that as of now. Maybe in the future, this dropdown will expand and we'll be able to do other ones, but for now, it's just going to be JavaScript. Now, there's a couple of different things that you need to keep in mind when it comes to actually building this code. First is going to be actual key names. Whenever you are building the code itself, you'll be able to create specific fields to assign key names to and map values to from any previous steps. So this little section right here will allow you to essentially give names to specific values. So for example, number 1, this is the name, and the value itself is 10. Now, if we want to use custom values, this is where we're going to put in any of our custom values that are associated with the contact or the account itself by clicking the tag over here and selecting the value itself. So if we're going to say maybe our full name is going to be that, then we'll just call this full name, or you can just use any set number or string in here. So if we want to leave this as number 2, then that's going to be fine. Now, there's no limit to how many properties you can add, so you can just keep clicking this until you have as many as you need. I would advise keep this code as simple as possible to avoid any breaking. And then underneath that, we're going to see the code itself. So HighLevel gives us a little bit of a default, an example for us to use before we get started, which is simply just going to output the sum of the two numbers. Now in this case, we just changed number to name, so obviously that's not going to work, which is good because I want to show you exactly how this code works. Now, before you can actually launch and start using this automation with the custom code action, you do have to test your code. So if we click run test right here at the bottom, and then it's obviously going to run through successfully, as we can see here, but it's just going to give us a result as null because we're combining a string and an integer. But now that this test has ran successfully, now we can officially use this in a workflow. So there's a little blurb of text saying we have to test the code and no output is going to be available for untested code. This is just to make sure nothing breaks on HighLevel's end. Now you can come up with some pretty cool automations by using this action. It is going to be a little bit more advanced, so I would recommend the only people that use this are people that can actually code in JavaScript. I wouldn't recommend just taking code off the internet and dropping it in here. But one of my favorite use cases for this, if we delete all the actual code, is using code like this to use a regular expression function in order to take a string and extract the phone number. I find that that's really useful for me as a marketer, and it could be useful for you as well. If you know how to code in JavaScript, you can build something like this on your own, but I want to show you something real quick. If you create a variable called, let's say, text blob, and you call it in the data as simply text blob, for example, right here, and then we try and run the code, then it is going to fail. And if it fails, then we can't actually use this workflow effectively because it's not going to let us run this action. So make sure whenever you are referencing any of your variables or any of these properties that you're going to be including in your code, make sure you include that input data dot and then the key name that you have right there. So if we put in input data dot and then we run the test again, then it's going to run successfully and we will be good to go. Again, this is a more advanced feature that I would recommend people that only know how to code in JavaScript actually use. But if you do know how to use it, then you can create some really cool solutions to any of your really specific problems within your agency by using HighLevel. Last thing to note is that whenever you're actually creating your code within this, make sure you specify what the output is going to be by doing something like this. So as you can see here, we're saying that our output is going to be the result of this code that we just wrote, which, as you remember, is supposed to extract the phone number, which is just this little section of text from this string. As we look at the bottom after we've tested it, our result successfully spits it out. But if we don't include this output section and we delete it, then it will run successfully, but it won't output anything. So make sure you specify what the output is in your code so it will run correctly. When you're done writing and testing your code, you can click Save Action, and then you can use that result from that code in any other future workflow actions. So for example, if we want to use it in an SMS, we can click SMS, then we'll see our custom values tag right here, where if we scroll down, we can see custom code, in which if we click this, then we'll be able to see that output as our result, and that will be our custom value right within this workflow action. We can use that within SMS, emails, adding it to notes, creating contact tags, and anything like that. And of course, once we're done with any of these workflows, we can click save, publish it, and we will be good to go. I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Andrew. I've got a really exciting release to bring to you when it comes to the ChatGPT action within workflows. Have you ever used the ChatGPT action and found that it wasn't remembering things from previous conversations? Maybe the person interacting with it would say something and then it wouldn't pick up on it in the future responses. Well, now we have a fix for this. It is called History within ChatGPT. We now can enable AI memory keys in order to remember past conversations, in order to remember things that the person interacting with it has said before across the sub account, across the workflows, and there's a ton of really great features when it comes to using this. So let's dive right in. Now we're going to be functioning within workflows here. So within any workflow, as usual, you can add in the ChatGPT action on the right-hand side, which is going to be GPT powered by OpenAI. Now, when you've used this action before, you'll see lots of the similar functionality that we've always had. You can select the GPT model, you can select the action type, enter a prompt, and then at the bottom down here, we now have a new toggle for Enable History. Now, if we turn this on, then GPT will draw insights from previous GPT action executions in multiple different settings in order to provide more relevant and customized responses. And this will only work on GPT-4 models. If we toggle this on, then we will see our first setting, which is History for. Now we have 5 different types of history. We have history for this sub account, this workflow, per execution, this step, and custom. Now, history for this sub account will make sure that ChatGPT remembers all ChatGPT conversations across all workflows within the sub account. This workflow will remember only conversations that happen within this workflow. Per execution will only remember conversations within a single execution of a workflow. So every time somebody re-enters, it will wipe the memory clean. This step, which will only remember conversations on this action across multiple executions, and then custom, and we'll get into that later. Now, there's a lot of different use cases for all these different types of histories. For example, if you want history enabled for the entire sub account, maybe this can be useful for internal tools, maybe sharing data back and forth across the account and having conversations between contacts where GPT needs to remember things from other conversations and pull them into separate user interactions. Enabling this workflow or enabling per execution can be really good ways to interact with customers one-on-one. So that way, let's say customers tell you their name, tell you they have a dog, tell you any information about themselves really, then that way GPT will remember that information when they interact with them in the future. If you plan on GPT having really long conversations over an extended period of time with people, then this workflow may be a good option. So that way it doesn't forget things whenever people leave the workflow and then come back into it. However, if you're dealing with people in one-off situations, or maybe you only want it to remember specific entries and allow people to have multiple entries or interactions with the GPT, then per execution could be good as well. And this step and custom have lots of other use cases that I'm sure you can think of as well. Now for the first 4, you can select any of them and then save your action and immediately go on with using this workflow as long as you filled out the rest of the information. But for custom, there's one specific piece of information that you'll need in order to make it work. You'll see that for custom memories, a memory key is required. Now, what is a memory key? Essentially, every custom ChatGPT entity has its own memory key that it associates with all the different contexts that it's given throughout its lifespan. So what we can do here is create our own custom memory key and then use this key across other workflow actions where we want to access the exact same ChatGPT memory. This can be really helpful if you're trying to create a tool that wants to access different memories at different workflows at different points in time with different interactions with any users. This gives you lots of opportunities to create really cool tools using AI and these custom keys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with it. Here in our advanced options dropdown, we have our temperature, which is included on any GPT action, regardless of if it has history or not. And then these last three sections for system instructions and then the last two toggle switches are there only if you have history turned on. Now we've all seen system instructions before, but this time with history, it'll enable it for all of the different GPT actions that have history enabled and that where it's going to be used. You can designate things like the tone of voice, the type of conversation it needs to have, how many words it needs to respond with, and things like that. Then underneath it, you can see we have two toggle switches, one to exclude instruction from history. So if we turn this on, then our instruction will not be saved within history and therefore will not be referenced whenever conversations are being had with this GPT specifically. And then we also have exclude responses from history, which if you toggle this on, then it will only store data that is not a part of the actual conversation flow. And if you think about it, the GPT actually goes much beyond the conversation flow, analyzing things like intents, analytics, tracking, instructions, and things like that. So if you want to create a GPT using HighLevel that doesn't store history from conversations with users directly, then you can switch on that toggle switch. Once you customize all these different settings for your GPT action, and of course input a prompt, then you can save and now reference this GPT action in the same workflow and of course across the sub account if you have those different settings for history enabled. The ability to designate what type of history you're going to have for your GPT is really cool, and especially being able to create custom GPTs and then reference them in different workflows is absolutely wild. So I'm really pumped to see how you guys can use this within your businesses to help you grow, to help you help more people. And of course, I'm going to be playing around with it as well. If you have any questions about best use cases or how this feature works, then feel free to leave a comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Hello, high-level users. We've got a really exciting update for ChatGPT within workflow automations. We now have the ability to use ChatGPT 4.0 and 4.0 mini. I'm going to be walking you through how to use all of the different types of ChatGPTs within automations, what their differences are, and how you can best apply them to your business. Let's get started. So in any and all workflows, we've got the GPT powered by OpenAI action. We're all familiar with this. This is our ability to reference ChatGPT and use it within our automations, and it's a super powerful tool. But we're going to be talking about the three different types of models that we have for ChatGPT within HighLevel. We currently have default set for GPT 4.0, but we also have 4 Turbo and 4.0 Mini. Now, what are the differences between these three different types of ChatGPTs? I'm going to walk you through all of them right now. GPT 4.0 is kind of your mid-range GPT. It's going to be able to handle most conversations. It's going to do pretty well. It's going to be balanced and have a good idea of contextual understanding and its ability to craft responses to whatever prompts you give it. Again, if we're thinking about this on a tiered level, 4.0 is your mid-tier, and these are going to be costing 3 cents per execution. One step above 4.0 is 4.0 Turbo. Turbo is a little bit of a beefed up version of 4.0. It's got a better ability to handle complex queries. It can handle more complex prompts, and it can more accurately respond to questions, especially when we're giving it lots of context and lots of things to read off of. 4.0 Turbo is going to be your best bet. Now, this is also going to be 3 cents per execution, and 4.0 Turbo will be slightly slower than 4.0 or 4.0 Mini because it is handling larger prompts and it's doing a lot more thinking on the back end. Now, 4.0 Mini is going to be our most affordable version of ChatGPT 4. It's going to be a lot faster. It's going to still be able to handle most responses, but it's going to be best for simple prompts where there's not as much contextual understanding for the GPT to actually reference. This is going to be our most efficient GPT, but it's also going to be able to handle less complex things, so keep that in mind. Now, you'll be able to select between these three models right within the GPT powered by OpenAI action right at the top at the model section. What I'm going to do really quickly for you is show a quick demo of all three of them and show you exactly what types of responses we're going to be getting from them. For a simple prompt that we're giving it, which is to craft a response to this message, we're giving it very limited instructions and we're telling all three of them the exact same thing so we can see the difference between three different models. The message that we're crafting a response to is, hey, I'm thinking about traveling to Paris this winter. What I'm going to do is run this workflow and I'll show you all three different responses so we can look through the differences. So we've got the three responses right here in our contact notes. If you look between 4.0 Turbo and 4.0 Mini, you're going to see a couple of differences between the three different responses. Again, this is a pretty simple query, but I wanted to show you that the three of them will respond slightly differently. So 4.0 is probably one of our best ones. It's got a good idea of contextual understanding. It ran through quickly, and it even brought up some specific locations for our imaginary Paris trip. 4.0 Turbo responded with a little bit of a longer response. Remember, that's the one that's going to include more context. It's going to be a little bit more complicated and take a little bit longer to process, but it's still pretty similar to 4.0, just slightly beefed up. And 4.0 Mini ran through the quickest. Still, for a response like this is honestly enough because this is a pretty simple prompt. But as you can see, 4.0 Mini didn't reference any specific locations or anything, so it didn't take the time to go through that sort of context. It just gave a little bit more of a general response. So as you can see, there's a couple of differences between your different GPT models, but especially with the additions of 4.0 Mini and 4 Turbo, we've got a lot of functionality and a lot of ways that we can mess around customizing our ChatGPTs so we can get the right responses to suit our customer needs and our business needs. If you have any questions about the different GPTs, leave a comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can grant or revoke access to a private channel within communities on HighLevel. Let me show you how it works. So I'm going to be showing you 2 new triggers and 2 new actions. These are all going to be granting or revoking access to the private channel. Within our automations, we're going to click add new trigger, and then we can see under private channel, we have private channel access granted and private channel access revoked. These are under the community section. You can either search it up or scroll down to communities and you'll find them under that. Now, similar to our group access granted and group access revoked, these are going to be giving our users access to our private channels. So our private channel access granted trigger, when we click it, we'll be able to select which group via our filter, saying group is empty, is not, or is not empty. And then if we select is, we can select group itself. This is my community right here on this sub account. We can also add a filter for which private channel itself, saying the private channel is not, is empty, or any of those. And then we can select the private channel from our community right here. Here's the private channel that we have in this group. It's called private channel discuss. If we head over to our community that I'm demoing this on, we'll see that private channel right here. It has that little locked icon. If you've never created a private channel before in your community, when you're logged in as an admin, all you have to do is on the left-hand side, click add channel, give it a name, a description, an icon, and then just toggle on make channel private, and then click create channel, and it'll show up under that list. Back in our automation, these are all of the filters that are available specifically for the private channel access granted or revoked trigger. We can also add on a filter for any other custom fields, but for this case, we're not really going to be needing that. Now, we can also use our private channel access revoked trigger, which has the exact same filters of group and channel. So if we select the group again, and then select the channel again, then this will give us the same filters. Now, these 2 triggers are going to act just the way that you would expect. The private channel access granted trigger will trigger a workflow whenever somebody's been added to a private channel or been given access to it via courses and communities. And the revoked trigger will work whenever you remove somebody from that private channel. Now that we know how the triggers work, let me show you the 2 actions. If we click plus, then we can look up our actions for our private channels, and we can either grant private channel access or revoke private channel access. Again, we will be able to select our group, and then we will also be able to select the private channel itself. Now, the grant private channel access action itself will do 2 things. It will, 1, add the member to the group if they haven't been added to the group already, and then 2, give them access to that private channel. That's really all you need to know about that action. And our second action is revoke private channel access. And if we click this, we'll have the same filters for group and private channels. We do need to select these in order to save. And what this is going to do as this action is remove the user's access from that private channel, but it will keep them in the community. So the first one will add them in the community if they're not already, and the second one will just remove them from that channel, but keep them in the community. Now that you know how those work, let me show you how I would use them in a business use case. One of the most straightforward ways that you can use these triggers and actions together is by giving somebody access to a specific channel when they have paid for a specific product. That's how I'm going to use it personally. So let me show you how that works. What I'm going to do is use the order submitted under payments trigger. I'm going to add a filter for a specific global product. And that is going to be, keep in mind, not any of our free products, but we're going to do one of our paid products so they can get access to this paid channel because they have paid for it. Then we're going to save that as our trigger and then add our action for grant private channel access. And then what this is going to do under our community and our private channel is not only give them access to the community after they have placed an order or paid for it, but it's going to give them access to that private channel, since in this case, they're purchasing a product that includes that private channel access. Another way that we can do something similar to this is by deleting these actions. And then what we'll do is we'll change this order submitted trigger to a refund trigger. And that way this workflow will come in whenever a refund comes in. And we're going to say under our filters, we're going to add a source for our refund is, and then we're going to add community. So if a refund is issued in the community, then what we will do is we will revoke our private channel access from that community in case somebody pays for the private channel and refunds it, then they no longer have access to that private channel, but they still get access to the rest of the community, which in this case is free. Now that's just a couple of ways that you can use these workflow triggers and actions in order to grant or revoke private channel access in your community. If you have any questions about how this works, feel free to refer back to the help doc, and I hope you found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Hey high levelers, what's up? It's Andrew, and I've got a really exciting feature that you all are going to love, and it is the workflow notes. That's right, we can add sticky notes, we can add action notes in our automations, in our workflows. It's super exciting, so let me show you exactly how it works. To use workflow notes, open up any of your workflows, and then you can see on the left-hand side, we've got this all new sidebar. All right, this is where we have our stats view and our notes and our sticky notes as well. We're going to be going over regular workflow notes as well as sticky notes in this video here today. For anyone that comes into the workflow, so they can check out the notes for this workflow, understand a little bit about what it's doing, So you can type in your note right here. You'll see that your workflow notes will be saved when the workflow is saved, when you click that button in the right-hand side, and then that note will be there whenever anyone clicks notes. They'll be able to see all of these different notes for the workflow itself. But what if we want to add notes on actions? Well, that's going to be action notes. So you'll see action notes right here. The way you add an action note is you come over to any of your actions, and you can either click this little highlighted notes icon that will pop up, or you can click the three dots and click notes. Whenever you click either of these, it'll open up this little notes tab, where you have a little bit of control over things like bolding, italicizing, and underlining, but you can type in your notes right here. As you can see, you can add as many notes as you want by just typing it in and clicking add. Now, whenever you add in these tags, not only will you see them in this little window right here, you'll get a little bubble over the action itself, letting you know that there is a note here to view. And by clicking it, you can view all of the different notes on the action. Or again, by clicking those three dots and clicking notes, you'll see right there, you have all of your different notes right there. And then you can also see them under notes and action notes. All right, here are our action notes, and you can see all of our 3 different notes on this tag. And whenever you click this, it will open up the action notes just like that. Now, the other exciting thing I want to show you is sticky notes. So right here, we just went through the notes tab on this little sidebar, but if we click the sticky notes tab, then we can add in sticky notes in our workflow. This is going to be super cool, allow us to really make our workflows more engaging so we can train team members on how they work, show other people exactly what happens to a contact whenever they go through the workflow, and explain things more in depth for our team and anyone that can see the workflow. To add a sticky note, just click the sticky notes button and then select which color sticky note you would like. And then once you do that, it'll throw it into your workflow where you can drag it around, put it wherever you would like. You also get a cool little preview in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, if you can see that. And then you can double click to actually type in your note and then go ahead and tap out of it to be done messing with that sticky note. Once you click out of the note, you can navigate your workflow per usual, but then once you click it, you can drag it around. So this is a really cool interface that allows us to put them wherever we need them, whether we want to put next to an action, up near our triggers, off to the side, and things like that. We also have the ability to edit the note by either double clicking them or clicking the edit icon right here. Then we can edit these sticky notes, and we can also duplicate them as many times as we would like. So if we want to have multiple sticky notes throughout our workflow, this makes it really, really cool and really engaging. We can do a lot of really fun things with these sticky notes. One of my favorite things to do is add in images. So if we go ahead and throw in a sticky note, double click, and then if we click this image right here, we can upload an image, adjust things like the width, height, alt text, and action links. So if we want to include ability to click the image and link off to somewhere else, we can do that. And then we can save, and then we will see our image pop up right there in our sticky note, which is really cool. We can throw this around, mess with our workflow, and have that off to the side. So there is a ton of functionality, a ton of fun that we can have with these sticky notes. Now, this is fun and all, but what's a real business use case for actually using these notes within HighLevel? Well, right here, we've got one of the recipes for lead nurturing using ChatGPT. And what I'm using the notes for is for explaining to any of our internal team members how this workflow works and what they need to do in order to implement this for new clients. We have this on a snapshot, and what we're going to do is upload this to lots of different accounts. So how do we tell people that they need to change specific values? Well, that's what we're going to be using the notes for. So as you can see, we've got our first value right here, just a little note saying we need to change this prompt during onboarding. We've got the prompt right here, and whenever we open up the note, we can see the note alongside the actual prompt right here, so we can change it side by side, which is really helpful. Then if we scroll down a little bit in our notes, we can see our next sticky is letting us know that we need to adjust this link here for new clients. So we can click this, include the link in the sticky note, and then drop it into this email. Then if we scroll down a little bit further, we've got another sticky note on one of our last steps to change this email to a template. So we can remind anyone that before they publish this, they need to do that. We can click this email, change it to any of our templates, just like we said, and click save. Then we've also got on the left-hand side more notes in case anyone needs to go through further notes for the workflow before publishing. We've got a little bit of an explanation saying that this workflow is for nurturing a lead via ChatGPT and that they need to change all the values before publishing. So once they've gone through everything, they can see that everything on the sticky notes has been fixed. Then they can click save, they can publish it, and they will be good to go. This is just one of the many business use cases that we have for sticky notes and notes in general. This is going to be really helpful for us sharing information with our team members in workflows, and I'm super excited to see how I can use it and how you can use it as well. If you have any questions about this feature, leave a comment, and as always, thank you for watching. What's up, high levelers? It's Andrew, and today I'm going to be bringing you a new feature that's going to be making the math action within workflows even more powerful than it already is. Now we can update custom values with our math operation within workflows. It's super exciting, so let me show you how it works. So in any of our automations, our math operation is going to be under actions, And previously we didn't have the ability to update custom values, but now we do. So if we go to select field, we can now select anything between date fields, and custom values. So if we click custom values, then we'll be able to see all of our different custom values that are value related, as in numerical. So only numerical and valid date fields are values that we'll be able to update, obviously, since the math operation is dealing in numbers. So for example, we've got two different use cases that I'm going to walk you through. One is for a leads captured custom value, and one is for a website opt-ins custom value. Let's say this one numerical value. What we're going to do is we can add, subtract, multiply, or divide the current value of the custom value itself. So for example, if the custom value currently is 0 and we want to add, let's say 1, for this case, we're going to select the same field. This is going to be the custom value, and then we can click save. Now, for example, for this use case, we're going to take this custom value, which is leads captured, and every time a contact is created, then we are going to run this math operation in order to increase that leads captured value. So that's pretty straightforward. But what if we want to add more operations on here? Well, the math operation action has more functionality. We can add more operations to the actual math operation if we want to add, subtract, divide multiple times. So we want to add 1 and then multiply by 2, then we can do that and it'll update the same field. Now, if we select a different field in this second update field filter, for example, let's select a custom field. So it's a separate field than the lead captured field that we're selecting at the top. Let's say initial investment amount. This is a random custom field. Then what is this going to do? Since we have two different fields, how does this work? Well, what this is going to do is it's going to take the custom value that is in this current field, the first one that we've selected, then perform the math operation, and then it's going to update this field. So if we want to take a current custom value and then perform a math operation and then update that custom value, we want to select the same custom value on these two. So we would select leads captured, and that will do exactly that. But if we want to use a current custom value or use a current custom field or a date or any of the ones up top, and then modify a different field at the bottom, that's how that would work. So for example, if we want to take a custom field like initial investment amount and then add 1 and multiply 2 and then update the custom value of leads captured, we can do that as well. Just don't forget that at the top it says select field. This can be custom fields and custom values. And at the bottom it says update field. Again, this can be custom fields and custom values. So don't forget that. That's essentially how the math operation works, but I'm going to show you two of my personal use cases that I use in order to make this a really powerful tool within my business. First, what we just did, when we're going to run this automation when a contact is created, then we're going to run the math operation off of leads captured and then add 1. That's it. We're just going to add 1 every time a contact is created. This might not seem very powerful, but what we're actually going to use this for is on our website. We've got a website here that has a little section saying we've got X amount of leads captured. We can have different figures here, and by using those automations, we can update those in real time, which is really, really cool. So rather than just using a random number, which most websites do, we can actually have a legitimate number that's based off of our CRM. So what we can do is in our website editor, we can take this headline, and rather than just using text, what we can do is we can select that custom value right here and then select leads captured, and then that will update automatically as we get new contacts in the CRM, which is really cool. So for example, we've just published this. When we look at the site, we've got 800. That is what our current custom value is set to. But then what if we create a new contact? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my agency, create a contact. Now we can see in our execution log that this contact was just created. And if we go back to our site and refresh, this number should be increased by 1 by using that math operation just like that. Now, one more simple use case using this math operation, we are going to be using our website opt-ins custom value. So this is going to be a custom value that we can have on a website, in SMSs, in emails, anywhere like that. That's going to track how many opt-ins we've got. Maybe we want to update the entire team or even our customer base with how many customers we have or how many opt-ins we've gotten. Well, we're going to use a form submitted trigger along with that math operation. We're going to update our custom value of website opt-ins. We're going to add, and then we can update that custom value of website opt-ins just like that and use that value anywhere that we would like by using this automation. This may be a really niche feature, but for a lot of us, this is going to make a huge impact whenever we are trying to edit custom values across our sub account automatically using our automation. So I'm super excited to use this myself, and I'm super excited to share it with you. If you have any questions about the math operation or this feature in general, leave a comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching. What's up, high levelers? It's Andrew, and I'm excited to announce that today we can now discover and install marketplace apps right from the workflow builder. That's right, we can see different actions and triggers right from the workflow builder that we can install from the app marketplace in order to further enhance our workflows. It is one of the biggest updates that I personally absolutely love. Let me show you how it works. The best part about this feature is you don't even have to navigate to the app marketplace in order to see the available apps. If we click add new trigger or add new action, then we will see the discover tab. All right. So we have always had the all triggers tab, which has all of the triggers native to HighLevel. But now if we click discover, we can now see all of the different triggers and actions that we can get from apps on the app marketplace, which is really exciting. We can sort these from all apps to top installed, to newly added apps, to top paid, free. When we scroll through these screens to see all of our different available triggers and actions that we can get from our apps, we can actually click on any of these apps and view the triggers that we are going to be getting from the app right here in the workflow builder. So we can see with this app specifically, we have these different triggers that are going to come in. We can select another app, for example, this one right here, and we can see the triggers right here. And then if we click app details, it will pull up a expanded screen where we can see more information about the triggers and about the app itself. And then we can actually click install right here to install the app from the app marketplace. Now, when we find the app that we want to install, all we have to do is select the app, click app details, and then click install app right here, and it will take us to the app marketplace where we can install the app from there. In the future, we will have an iframe, but for now, it'll take us to the app marketplace tab within our sub account where we can click install and then install the app from here. Back in our workflow builder, I've shown you this for our triggers, but we can also do this for actions. So if we click on our actions tab, all of the different actions that we can install from our apps, which is really, really exciting. Obviously, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of new actions that we can install from the app marketplace. So there's no way I could go over every single one of them. But the coolest part about this is you can find which apps are going to suit your needs yourself right through workflows. So if you have a need, let's say we're going to be needing an exchange rate calculator or something of the sort, we can look it up, see if it exists as an app. And what do you know? There's an app right there. We can click app details. From this screen, click install app. It'll take us to the marketplace. We can install it just like this. We can install it from this screen when the app is successfully installed from whichever developer that this app is made by. This one's made by Level Up Marketplace, which makes a lot of really great apps. If we go back to our workflow, now we can click add action, go down, and we will see that new action that we just installed, and we can use it right here within our workflow. So this is a super powerful way for us to access the app marketplace right within HighLevel and find exactly what's going to be suiting our needs. Because a lot of the times you'll want to build a workflow, but maybe you don't understand exactly what you need in order to build it. Well, now you can find those apps specifically on the app marketplace and install them through HighLevel. So this is super exciting. As you can tell, I am really pumped to be releasing this out to you guys. And I'm excited for you guys to start installing more apps and get these into your workflows, because this will seriously streamline your processes, make your workflows more powerful, and make your business more efficient. So if you want to discover more apps, head to your workflows, click that discover tab, or go to marketplace.gohighlevel.com to discover the hundreds of different apps that are out there from all of our awesome developers. And of course, if you have any questions about installing apps, utilizing them in workflows, or anything that I mentioned in this video, leave a comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Hey, what's up, high levelers? It's Andrew, and I've got a really exciting new feature release that I'm going to be walking you through, and that is our workflows, advanced filters, and smart lists. That's right, we now have the ability to organize our workflows better than before within our automations tab on HighLevel. It's super exciting, so let's show you how it works. Right, so checking out all of our different workflows on our automation tab within our sub account. Before now, the only organizational tools that we've really had to sort, filter, or actually look at different sections of workflows has been folders. So we've put them into different folders. As you can see, we've got a folder for demo flows, got a folder for conversions, different things like that. Well, now we've got smart lists and advanced filters. So the first thing I'm going to show you is advanced filters. And this will show up whenever you are on your all workflows screen or any of your smart lists, which I'll show you in a second. Whenever you click advanced filters, you'll see this filter pop up on the right-hand side. And this is going to allow us to only view workflows that are performing specific actions, have specific tags, use specific criteria, or anything like that. So for example, what if we want to view all of our workflows that are published? All right, we can select status is published, just like that, and then apply that filter. And now we'll see all of our published workflows right in one place, which is really, really handy. If we want to edit this filter, we can go back to the filter by clicking advanced filters, edit it right here. But also, as soon as you apply any filters, you'll see this button on the right-hand side for save. And if you click this, then you can now either discard changes or save it as a new smart list right from the filter, which is really cool. So if we click save as new smart list, then we'll now have a new smart list. We can give it a title, we can edit the filter if we want, and then we can click save as new, and that's going to show up as a new smart list right here. So we can see all of our workflows by clicking all workflows, and then by clicking published workflows, we can now see just those published workflows, which is really cool. A couple of other options we have for our advanced filters are sorting by names, status, trigger types, action types, when they were updated, tags, and when they were created. So for an example, what if we want to create a filter to view all of our workflows that are being triggered off of form submissions, for example? Well, we can select trigger type is, and then we can select our trigger from the list or just by searching it up. So we've got form submitted, and then we can click apply, and now we can view all of our workflows that are using the form submitted trigger. Additionally, we can go back into this filter. Maybe let's add an and let's say workflows that are using a form submitted trigger that are also published. Then we're going to click apply, and now we can see all of our different workflows that are using that form submitted trigger, which is really, really cool. Now we can go ahead and remove this filter by clicking the advanced filters button and clicking remove filter as it shows up when we highlight over our filter itself. Then we can click apply, and we'll go back to seeing all workflows. Now let's talk about smart lists. All right, so at the top, we can see at the very right-hand side, past all of our current smart lists, these are 2 that I've already created, we can add in new smart lists by clicking this button. This is going to bring up the same screen where we can add in our advanced filters, give it a title, and of course we can select our filters just like we did before. So for example, this time we're going to work with workflows that involve tags. So we'll say tags. We can then view all of our different tags that are included in the account. For example, if we're trying to find a workflow that uses this tag specifically of biz owner, we can click apply, and then we'll find just those 2 workflows that use that tag specifically. Then we can click save. We'll see it says success, that it's created the tagging list smart list. And now we can navigate between all of our different smart lists and view whether it's our published workflows, workflows that use this tag, all workflows, or of course we can use those advanced filters on our all workflows in order to view it on a more granular level. Now, whenever we're inside any of our smart lists, for example, let's say that tagging list one that we just created, you'll see this customize list button on the right-hand side that we can click. And this is where we can either add in more filters or adjust these filters, or we can click delete list on this first screen and then click delete, and that smart list will be deleted. After it's been deleted, we can also go to the deleted screen. Now, keep in mind, whenever you delete a smart list, don't worry, it's not going to delete the workflows within that smart list. It just deletes the list itself. But if you do delete any workflows, they will show up in this deleted tab on this screen. This is going to go into my stack as one of my favorite releases of 2024. I'm super excited to see you guys use this in order to organize your workflows. And personally, it's going to help me out a ton so I can find out which workflows are published, which ones are launched by specific triggers, and so on. So I hope you get to use this feature as much as I'm going to use it. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. And as always, thank you for watching. Hey there, my name is Andrew. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use custom objects within workflow actions and triggers. Custom objects are a new feature to HighLevel that are really exciting, and they're going to allow us to do a lot of really cool things, especially in automations. So let's dive right in. Now, before we use a custom object within a workflow, we're going to create one by going to settings and then going to objects under other settings on the left-hand side. And we have 2 types of objects. We have standard objects, which are going to be associated with contacts, and then we have custom objects, which are really exciting. We're going to do this by clicking add custom object in the right-hand side, and then we're going to create our object here. Now, before we get into creating custom objects, let me explain a little bit about what they are and how we can use them. Think of custom objects as a tool that allows us to associate information between different contacts and different actions within our workflows and within our CRM. This will allow us to apply specific attributes to different users, to different actions, and it's overall going to give us some really neat functionality that's going to allow us to customize our CRM even further. I know it might seem a little complicated, but let's dive right in and I'll walk you through it. For example, this custom object, we're going to be using cars and car colors. So we're going to call our custom object car. We're going to call the plural cars, and then we're going to enter the field name as color, and then the field type will be single line text field. Then we can change our icon to that of a car. We have lots of different options here, and then we're going to add in a description like this. Then we can click create custom object like this, and now we've got a custom object created. Now let's go ahead and head to automations. At our automation screen, we're going to click create workflow, and then we're going to click cars based workflow. Once we open up our cars-based workflow, we'll be able to see that we have a new trigger and new action for our car object. As you can see right here under custom object, we've got those 2 triggers, one for car created and one for car changed. Now, the business use case that I'm going to show you is whenever a contact purchases a car, let's say from a car dealership. So we're going to say car created as our workflow trigger. Here we can add the filters for that field that we added, which was color. And we'll say if the color is, let's say exact match phrase, and let's say blue. Then we're going to click save, and now we can move on to our actions. When we click this, we'll have some of our regular actions, things like send data and internal actions, but things like sending an SMS or an email or creating contacts or contact-based actions aren't going to be available within this object-specific workflow. But we do have 3 specific actions for our object. We have create car or associated record, update car or associated record, and clear fields of car or associated record. Since we're using a car created trigger, we're going to use a create car or associated record custom object action. Select our car as our object, select our color down below, and I'll explain what fields are in a second. Now, whenever we put in this color, it does not have to be the same one as the one we used earlier. As we said, it was blue, but we can also use a custom value by over here. We can select custom object car color, so we can put in that color right there. So it'll update that to blue since this workflow only launched whenever a car was created with the color blue. And we can go ahead and click save. Now that's how you navigate using custom objects in triggers and actions, but I'm going to show you a couple of more steps to explain this a little bit thoroughly. If you want to test this out for yourself, then feel free to leave this video now, go ahead and test it, and then come back when you have more questions. But let's dive in a little bit deeper. Now, as we just saw, we have this fields option right here, but you see there's no fields here. We do have fields in this sub account, so why aren't there any fields? Well, these are going to be fields that are associated with the object itself. If we go back to the object under settings and then objects, we can click the three dots and then click add custom fields. We were also able to do this in this screen whenever we were creating it. At first, we could add in custom fields associated with this object specifically. But what we're going to do is we're going to click add custom fields. We're going to make it single line and we are going to make it called color. Now we've got the car color and we're going to include this under car info under the group. This was automatically created when we created that object. And then we will click save. Now we've got a custom field that's associated with our object in the CRM. Now if we go back to our automation, in our car workflow, then we can go back to this record, click fields, and then now we see that car color field appears since we created it and it's associated with that object. Now, once we select this as a field, we can now update the field right here. So if you remember, we have our color that's associated with the object itself, and then we've got the car color, which is that custom field that we mentioned earlier. We can update this to whatever we want. For this example, we're going to use the same custom field from color, and then we can click save. Now this is useful because we can now reference this field in other parts of our sub account and in other parts of our workflow. So for example, if we want to do, let's say, a update custom value, we can update our custom value, which is going to be a random custom value like this, to our new value, which is either the custom object car color, which is the original field that we created, or car color, the additional field that we added onto that object itself. Now, in reality, what we would want to do is ideally add different aspects of the object into those different fields. So for example, we have color, we have horsepower, VIN number, number of wheels, number of doors. All of these different pieces of information will be associated with this contact by going to objects, clicking add custom fields, and then adding those separate fields for the object itself. This is important because it allows us to essentially group sets of information that are associated with that object. So let's say we have a contact that's associated with the car. It has bought a car and that car has been created under that contact. Now we have organized in our custom fields, we have the car color, the VIN number, the horsepower, the number of doors, the number of wheels, etc. So rather than having a bunch of custom fields spattered about the account, we have all of them associated under car, and we can reference all of those within workflows. Now, if you've never used custom objects before, I'm sure this can seem a little bit daunting, but I hope this made it a little bit easier for you to understand. If you have any questions, of course, please refer to support or the rest of the help doc. Or as I would recommend, experiment with it yourself. Create your own custom objects, see how they can relate to different objects and contexts and actions and things that happen within your CRM, and I'm sure you'll pick up pretty quickly. Objects are really exciting and I'm excited to use them myself, so I hope you found this helpful. And as always, thank you so much for watching. What's up everybody, it's Andrew here to bring you another high-level feature release. We now have comprehensive workflow stats from the workflows list page. These will allow us to view workflow stats like SMS and email deliverability and so much more from a glance without ever having to actually go into the workflow on the screen. To see this, simply navigate to your automations, then look at any of your published workflows or anyone that already have users enrolled, as we can see here. And then you'll see on the right-hand side stats, and we'll have a little drop-down arrow, which when we click this, we'll be able to see our email and SMS stats for delivered, opened, clicked, replied, and bounce. We can also view this for multiple workflows at the same time. So let's say we want to open up a couple of different workflows, look at our stats, compare them from this screen. We can see all of our email and SMS stats for multiple workflows right from here. So this is a really cool way for us to view all of our workflow stats right from our workflows list. Feel free to try this out in your sub account and see which workflows are working, which ones aren't. And of course, if you have any questions, leave a comment. And as always, thank you so much for watching. When people are messaging businesses like yourself on social media, it's best to give them the ability to have fast and easy responses. After all, over 150 million people message businesses on Instagram every single month. So in this video, I'll show you an awesome feature within HighLevel that allows us to use suggested replies within automations. This will give people response options right within the DM, so they're one click away from sending you a response. Let's dive right in. Now, I personally love this feature. This is an awesome way to get people engaged. In order to use this, we're going to use an automation. So we can go ahead and create a new workflow from scratch or open up a current one. And in order to start using this, we first need to add a Facebook or Instagram trigger. We can either use a comment trigger, so either a Facebook or Instagram comment on post, or a customer reply trigger. To keep things simple, we'll use a customer reply to trigger, and then add our filter for reply channel, and add Facebook or Instagram. Either are going to work. Now that we've got that trigger, we can add our action and we can use the Facebook or Instagram interactive messenger. Since we've got our Instagram related trigger, we'll use the Instagram related action and vice versa for Facebook. Now here is that Instagram interactive messenger. We have two reply types. We have either reply to comment via DM, which as you can guess, we would only use this with our comment trigger. And then we have simply reply to DM, which we would use with our customer replied to DM trigger accordingly. Now we have two options. We can either just include a regular message here, which is just going to send a message and not give us the ability for those quick replies. But if we scroll down, we can click quick replies, which is really cool. By doing this, we can click add quick reply, enter a quick reply. So for this example, let's say we want to give our customers a couple options like booking a call, going to our website, or visiting our YouTube channel. We can have one reply like that, add a second reply like this, add a third reply like that. And now we've got three different replies that if they click these within the conversation manager, it'll send that reply back to us. Now, when we've got this turned on, what this will end up looking like is we'll have our message here up top, and then we'll have three buttons underneath, which give them the options to click a quick reply. Now, just like that within our quick replies, whenever we use this workflow action, we will get different branches for this. So we can launch different workflows based off this. So obviously if they reply to quick reply 1, which was in order to book a call, then we can set this message as a DM, which can include a booking link here. And we can do that the same for all of these different quick replies. And just like that, here is that quick reply in action. So what happened was a customer sent us a message, then it sent that message here again, like I just showed you. This is that text right there. So we can see that showed up in Instagram. We sent that. And then on the customer side of things, we can see that we've got that message that we sent here again from that automation right here. That's that message. And then we've got those three quick replies. It looks really good. It makes it really easy for our customer to reply to us right within Instagram and then to launch automations off of it right within HighLevel. It's super awesome. I personally love this feature, and if you're using social media, this is an absolute must-have to have engaged with lots of automations in order to have these quick replies set up for your customers so you can completely run your business using HighLevel and Instagram and Facebook. This is awesome. I hope you found some value in this. This has been Andrew, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Did you know that HighLevel's workflows allow you to automatically call a lead and connect them with somebody on your team? And since research shows that 78% of customers will always choose the company that responds to them first, this is a huge feature that I want to show you. I'm Andrew, and let's dive right in. Using this feature is easy as creating one workflow under our automation section by clicking create workflow and starting from scratch. Now the awesome workflow action that allows us to do this is our IVR action, which we can look up by searching IVR. We can use this awesome feature with a simple workflow by setting up one trigger. For example, let's say a lead has submitted a form, and after a lead submits a form using this workflow trigger that we just saved, we can then assign the lead to a user, let's say our salesperson that's going to be calling this lead, using our assign to user action here. Then we can select our user, and now whenever a lead submits this form, they'll get assigned to the user, and then we can add an action to call, in which using this action, it will then immediately call the user, play this quick whisper message, which is going to allow the user to know who the contact is, and any other information like that, simply by adding in custom values on the right-hand side. Just like this, our salesperson will get a call, be notified that they have a new lead, named whatever the lead's name is. And then as we can see here, they will be connected after they press a key. They can press 1, 0, and then whenever the salesperson presses a key using our connect call after key press feature, then the call will immediately be connected to the lead just like that. Using this simple workflow with one trigger, two actions, we can publish it, save, and then we'll be good to go. Almost any business can benefit from workflows like this, which will allow them to collect leads, convert them into calls, which will convert them into sales. So get out there, use this feature for yourself, use it with your clients, and as always, thank you for watching. Hey, what's up? It's Andrew, and did you know that HighLevel has a Fast 5 recipe? This is a workflow automation recipe, which is already pre-built, which will allow us to engage with our customers on multiple levels as soon as they opt into our business. If you're new to workflows or are intimidated by building one from scratch, the Fast 5 recipe is an awesome way to engage with your customers, so I'm going to show you it right now. Now to get to the Fast 5 recipe, it's as easy as going to automations within our sub account, going to create a workflow, and then rather starting from scratch, we can select a recipe. Now this page gives us access to loads of workflow templates, but the one that we're going to be focusing on today is the Fast 5, which we can find by scrolling down and then seeing recipe Fast 5 Lite and recipe Fast 5. Lite is a simplified version of the Fast 5 recipe, but today I'm just going to show you this one so we can click select here. Now this is an absolutely beautiful workflow that HighLevel already has put together for us that we don't really have to modify all that much, and I'm going to show you exactly what it does and why it's called the Fast 5. But before I show you that, let's talk about triggers. We can obviously trigger this workflow off of lots of different things, but one of the easiest ones is using a form or a survey submission trigger, which will allow us to get our leads into this workflow whenever they opt in to see our business. Then after they opt in, it'll create an opportunity within our opportunity pipeline by using this action, and we can customize this action on the right-hand side here. Now I'm sure you're wondering why it's called the Fast 5, and that's because we've got 5 points of contact with our customer instantly. First, we've got an offer claim confirmation email. So if they opt in and we're giving them access to an offer, we can let them know that they have claimed their offer and their next step is to book an appointment. Then we have an offer claim SMS confirmation, which is going to send them a text letting them know that they have received the offer that they opted in for. We've got this pre-built SMS here using our contact's first name and our location name, so we don't have to modify anything in this field. Then the Fast 5 recipe is going to wait for a reply, and if they've replied, then it's going to then send them the booking link or send an internal notification to our team letting us know that we need to engage with them manually. Or if they haven't replied, the beautiful part about this is it'll then call connect with the lead, which is going to connect the lead to someone on your team by calling your team if the lead's available, and if the lead's not available, then it's going to send them a voicemail. Now this is an awesome action which we can use with a file right here. So just replace this file by creating a new send voicemail action. And then this will push a pre-recorded voicemail file to the contact's phone if they don't pick up. So just like that, we've contacted the lead. We've gotten our 5 touch points. It's going to get us closer to a sale. And this is an absolutely awesome workflow that if you're not using any already, this is a really easy one to implement into your business. I love all the workflow recipes, especially Fast 5 and Fast 5 Lite. It's a great way to get the basic engagement that you need with your customer, and it's pre-built right within HighLevel, so you don't have to do a thing. As always, I hope you learned something new. This has been Andrew, and thank you so much for watching.